Three, two, one, go. Hi, I'm Kyra and welcome to Muse. So today we are going to talk about a topic that is deep. Not that any of my topics I talk about are very superficial, but I promise to keep it light and fluffy sometimes. We'll have some soft spots, some deep parts. Well, it's a journey, right? Of a mental journey I'm taking you on today. So today I wanted to talk about identity and self-acceptance and just accepting that this is who you are. I know some of us are wanting to change, but sometimes, there's this one Bible quote. It's, God, give me the serenity to know what I can change and what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. So there's certain things about us we can change, and there's certain things about us that we need to embrace and we need to accept, and I think this also goes for other people, like accepting that other people for who they are and accepting that, this is what we made. Okay, so today's episode is called Apples and Oranges. Apples and Oranges, I've been working with Teacher Gaia, which is the earth. And Teacher Gaia teaches me about, Gaia is just the name of the earth, so it's like Mother Earth, and she kind of is a guide for me where she teaches me through biology. The best way to say it is through observation. I watch nature and I see how nature works, and I'm have these little metaphors that are okay, this is how natural growth is supposed to happen. Okay. So today, I firstly wanted to start off with purpose. And purpose, we're all born with one, but it is hard, sometimes we're in that phases. Sometimes we know what our purpose is, but then we're like, what is the next step? Another time we are still looking for our purpose. And sometimes our purpose is completely changing and we've outgrown our own purpose and we're onto a new purpose. So who we are is connected to our purpose. Trying to align your identity with your purpose is something that I'm particularly pursuing, something that is in alignment with who I am, not something that feels out of character or just contradicts who I am on a deeper level. So I was watching, I always have this scene, I get these visions of this scene, especially when I'm trying to understand something, the divine will show me a vision to better understand how to take this really massive concept and kind of put it into how do you teach a 4-year-old about potential? So my simple understanding, because purpose is a massive topic. Purpose is big. How do you make it simplified so that everybody understands instead of just the top of the class student? So purpose. Have this scene of Bug's Life, and there's I don't know what his name is. It's something Ick. I don't know what his name is. Put it down here. But this character, Ick, and then Dot. And then Dot is worried about her potential, and he said that the potential you have is all in the seed. And you see the tree, the seed knows its potential is to be the tree. Kind of something like that, maybe I can put up a little thingy.
Here. Pretend that that's a seed.
It's a rock.
Oh, I know it's a rock. I know, but let's just pretend for a minute that it's a seed, all right? We'll just use our imaginations. Now, to see our tree, everything that made that giant tree is already contained inside this tiny little seed. All it needs is some time, a little bit of sunshine and rain, and voila!
This rock will be a tree.
Seed to tree. You've got to work with me here, all right? Okay. Now, you might not feel like you can do much now, but that's just because, well, you're not a tree yet. You just have to give yourself some time. You're still a seed.
Anyways, so that is the concept of potential. I think a lot of us are like, what is our potential? And it's very hard to understand. So like him explaining the metaphor helped me understand, because like your seed or your design or your biology or your DNA, you were designed exactly what you are meant to become. And sometimes we're still in the phases of growing to become our fullest potential. I feel like embracing your potential and becoming who you're meant to be is a very powerful step that you can take towards self-growth, you know. I feel that potential is something that fulfills us on a soul level. Like when we are achieving what our soul is set out to do, we are happier, we are less sad, we are more in alignment, and we feel more fulfilled. So basically potential has to do with your design. Like in my last episode, I was talking about cows produce milk, and you know, they are designed to produce milk. So just like humans, although humans are a little bit complex, we're not like producing eggs and milk. You know, we are producing services and we are producing vibes. So basically what I feel is that we are designed with a specific purpose, a specific potential, and that design creates, you know, what we're meant to be pursuing. A lot of people are choosing things and pursuing things because they look fancy and they look glamorous, but sometimes on a deep soul level, we are unhappy or unsatisfied because we are not actually living up to what we are meant to be and accepting us for who we are, right? And then it comes to the last part of this, which is role. Your role. I think like I was in a group discussion and we were talking about purpose, and I'm the one in the group that is asking the deep questions. I'm asking the why. I'm like, don't just hand me something, give me substance. Explain it to me like I'm a 2-year-old, you know. I don't understand, you know. I just don't like, I just kind of like to know like the ins and outs. And you know, like if someone asks me, I don't want to just pass on wisdom. I want to actually understand the wisdom so that I can explain it to someone else. Right, so I feel like your role should align with your purpose, should align with your design, should align with your purpose, role, potential. So I don't know, I was like looking in the bookstores. Sometimes I just go on a mental trip to the bookstores just to see like what books there are and see like what titles catch my eye. And like obviously like do some like research of like, okay, like what are people reading? What are people writing? You know, in the old days we didn't have Google. We used to go to the library. Okay, we would have to go to the library to get wisdom. So the bookstore is a library on its own. Oh, so I saw this book called Ikigai, and I'm really trying to like kind of align with my purpose. And Ikigai is kind of like this intersection of like what you can do, what you can love, what you're passionate about, what people need, and what you can get paid for. It's actually 4. I just don't know. I'm still learning. Be patient with me. But it's something that like I really wanted to get into. It's a Japanese philosophy. And I've also been looking at like books of like designing your life, you know, like just having like a sense of purpose in your career, doing something that fulfills you and doing something that is your role and like fulfills your soul. So the best way to explain this is I've also been getting deep into the fruit metaphor, because in nature, when teacher Gaia brings up like analogies and stuff like that, she explains this to me as like apples and oranges, you know, like a fruit. Like what fruit am I meant to produce? Like if you want to start a business, like what is your service? Like don't just pick, well, my suggestion, my opinion is pick something you're passionate about, that you're good at, that you can get paid for, not just what everybody else is doing, you know. Like when we are in alignment with what we want to do and what we're designed to do, it's a lot easier and it's the path of least resistance, you know. So Ikigai is basically a Japanese concept that basically talks about finding your soul's purpose and living in alignment with that. And then they say like in the Japanese culture, like they like live to 100 years, you know, so they live to their fullest potential tree. But basically I was thinking about my fruits, right? But firstly, let's go back, let's rewind a bit to the self-acceptance part, right? Now, when you're like looking for your purpose, you know, sometimes we need a mirror of someone else to reflect like this is our purpose, or we need that spark of like, oh my gosh, that moment, that revelation of like, this is what I'm meant to do, you know. But we mustn't look at another person's purpose and say their purpose is better than mine, their role is better than mine, my potential is better than mine. Like that comparison, and personally I'm working through my own comparison lessons as a human being, can be toxic for us. It can be very unhealthy. It can make us feel sad, and it can lead us down spirals, spiraling into negativity. So basically, a fruit. So we have an orange tree, and an orange tree is an orange tree. Like the seed, it is designed to produce oranges. If it goes through its whole life believing that it's going to produce apples, when the reality hits and it produces an orange, it is going to be a huge wake-up call. It's going to be an illusion, and you can feel disillusioned because you're like, I was told that I was an apple tree and I was an orange tree. Apple, orange tree. Wait, gosh, I got confused. Okay, what were we talking about? The apple tree or the orange tree? Okay, we were talking about one of the trees. But let's say the apple tree, you were told, okay, you were an orange tree, and then you were told that you were the apple tree. Gosh, this metaphor, it's complex. So if you're an orange tree, and you've been told you're an apple tree by someone that is not experienced and not wise and just making opinions about you and saying this is who you are, it's going to be hard. And that is the power of beliefs. You know, what we believe, they say, creates our reality. And that is absolutely true. But what we believe does not equal always the truth. So I always suggest that connecting your truth to, to your beliefs is better, like aligning your truths to be healthy beliefs and beliefs that are the ultimate truth. So I think the oranges and apples things is that actually accepting that this is who we are, like going inside and saying, who am I? Not what other people say you are, not what other people say that you meant to be, but actually sitting with the fact of like, what am I meant to do? What am I designed to do? What am I really good at? What am I ikigaiing? What am I passionate about? What am I can get paid for? What can I ikigai? As we're growing, we still don't know what we're meant to produce, but no matter what, an apple tree will produce its fruits. You know, like in the Bible they talk about you will know them by their fruits. And I think from a discernment point of view, yes, you know, it is about discernment, saying like this is bad and this is good, but it's also about discernment on a neutral level of like, this is an orange and this is an apple. That is pure neutral discernment. Understanding like discernment that like this is them and this is me. I'm this and I'm an apple, they're an orange. You know, you can't compare apples and oranges. Right? And I think it's fundamentally important to get to that phase of you accepting that this is what I am. Once you get to that phase, then we can go into the next step of how do we actually pursue our purpose. So once we find our purpose and we accept it, and this is what we are designed for, and this is who we are, then we can move to now what's the next step? So what's the action step, right? So like, yes, trees and oranges are easier. You know, it's easier to say, like, look at an apple tree and being like, it's producing apples. But as humans, we are way more complex. We don't produce apples and oranges. We produce vibes. We produce peace. We produce love. We produce service. We produce souls and babies and creative things. You know, we are way more psychologically advanced in a sense of like, there's a lot more diversity, right? So how do we know what our fruits are? You know, like that's a huge question, like sitting there and asking yourself, what is my fruit? What am I meant to produce? And that is our service and our vibes that we give off to people. You know, we produce either peace, we produce love, and accepting that that's what you produce, like getting an accurate feedback from people and saying like, I'm producing love, I'm producing happiness, I'm producing coaching, I'm producing, it's like coaching, like healing. You know, there is so many different things that we can be as a human. We have so much more diversity and potential than, for example, trees. I mean, well, there's a lot of different trees, but you know, on a experience level. So what I would suggest is going inside and saying, like, what am I meant to produce? What is my service to other people? What is my offering? Because at an ultimate day, like at the ultimate time, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we are supposed to be supporting each other's services and supporting each other's purposes. Like the way Teacher Gaia taught me about this was basically birds, right? A tree cannot reproduce on its own, you know, it needs the bird to take the seed to pollinate, you know, and the bird needs food from the tree. So we are honestly in mutualism, we're in symbiosis, we're in harmony with each other. We are meant to help each other and be a community, right? So what is your service? What is your service? What's your produce? What is your fruit? I really want to know. But if you're struggling a bit with that question, because personally I'm still also discovering what my fruit, my service, my talent is, what I'm meant to share with others, I was kind of also looking at talent and gift. You are born with a talent and you were born with a gift, and that is specially designed for you. So I just want you to embrace your talent. I want you to embrace your gift. And I just want you to remember to be in alignment with your soul and accept yourself as you are, not letting other people whose opinions do not matter or are not built with substance to tell you what you're meant to be. Listen to the wise. Listen to someone who is experienced in something giving you advice, and don't listen to people's opinions that are just peanut gallery. I love you lots, and I hope this inspired you. See you next week.